Rockefeller sets people up. Okay. The young man with the British accent in this video I'm watching that I just commented on. Okay. Yeah, I'd have a strong endearment or affection to him because my sons are their mothers are brown. Okay. None of them have a British accent, no. No. They could probably mimic one if they wanted to. They could sit there and say, "Hi, how are you?" You know, like Noah on his. But Noah doesn't look like that. Noah looks very, very white, like the other young men in the video. But he could sit there and he mimics a British accent quite well. You know, so he mocked the way they talk fundamental and thing. Well, that's Roger Miller, and Roger Miller's from the Deep South, and I don't know if his being able to adapt to having the British accent and speak in a British accent would work well for him since he's so darn Southern, you know what I mean? So I guess I'll be in the South. It's land of the free, you know, so, you know, the trailer for sale or rent, rooms let 50 cents. Sometimes some people that got such a deep Southern accent, it's really hard to mock the way they talk from Middle Holland vein, right, and speak with a British accent, right? And so when you speak with a British accent, you have to, what do you do? I don't know. I just, you know, I've listened to it so much. Maybe it was too much Basil Rathbone movies as a child, or maybe watching Robin Hood by Disney one too many times. I don't know, but it's, you know, it's something that, well, my name is Ralph L. Parsons Jr., so actually, speaking with a British accent, you know, might come rather easily to me since my name is Ralph Earl Parsons Jr., my name is Parsons. And so therefore, I would already be genetically predisposed to be able to speak with a British accent if I was around people with a British accent. Right? So it won't be quite easy for me, being that my name is Parsons and we migrated here on boats from the UK to the United States of America. Do you understand? So that may be why it's you know, it'd be rather easy for me to go to England and then say, okay, you're gonna have to pick up this accent like I did when I lived in North Carolina. My sister said I had like a country train to. I was like, I ain't got a Carolina accent right now. Hey, yeah, you're talking mess. Shut up. And when we moved from New Mexico to Washington State, the kids all accused me of being Hispanic because I had a accent in the way that I said things, like as if I was a Spanish speaker. I mean, you pick up on it when you're around it a lot, you know. And so it just happens. It's I think it's just, you know, it's not assimilating to the group. I think it's affection. I think it's endearment. I think when you're around people that are kind to you and that are your friends, you pick up on something that happens. Like with me, with, you know, Ebonics. Okay. And I'm real comfortable speaking Ebonics. She used to drive my mom crazy because she was an English major, a grammar English major, right? And, you know, me, I was, you know, me, I'll be off to go, you know, my, and I can speak some Ebonics, like, you know, making snaps like a button, right? And so, but it drove my mom nuts. Earl, it's like, Ma, it's just the way I'm comfortable talking with my friends, Mom. They're just my dogs, yo. It's just, Ma, it's, you know, Gaines is my nigga. I'm his nigga, Ma. It's good. You know, it's all good, Ma. Like, hey, Yvonne, could you hook me up with the digits, right? You know what I'm saying? What? Your phone number. I got a boyfriend. I didn't ask for his phone number. You know, you know how we use people is, right? And so I'm sitting there listening to these people, and before I'd get, can you believe the audacity and the arrogance of these people? And that's what Rockefeller told me when I was in Sierra Vista, when he walked me around to Salvation Army, Catholic Social Services. He already raw exposed me to the Mormon Church and to the Episcopalians and the hypocrisy of all that and stuff. He was just educating me because I'm not the type of person to go out and compete and fight. And when it comes, everybody at Fort Huachuca thought I was a wussy and a pussy because I would just walk away from a fight. I would just wanted a peaceful life, and I figured, you know, the Barack Obamas, the Bill Gateses, and the Steve Jobses, and all them, they were going to fix everything. Well, those motherfuckers always want to fix everything. They've got all the answers. They know everything, right? So you sit there and go, well, they'll figure it out. You know, they're like Henry and Liza with the hole in the bucket, with the straw and the shit. You know, they'll figure the shit out. You know, they'll work it out. You know, you ever heard that song? There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, a hole. And then so she sits there and tells him, you know, to mend it. And he's like, well, with what? And she says, well, straw. And he says, but, you know, how can I stick the straw in there? You know, you got with water. And he goes, well, yeah, but there's a hole in the bucket and I need to fix it with straw. And she's kind of like telling him, take some straw with you with the bucket to go pick up the water. Then you put the straw in the water and then you put it inside the bucket. Then you fill the bucket with water. Okay. But Henry's not getting it. But Liza's getting it, but she's being obnoxious instead of just breaking it down to him in a way. You understand, Henry? Take the straw with you and the bucket, go down to where you get the water, and then use the water for the straw to put it in the hole for the bucket so you can mend it so we can get water here now. Instead of me being obnoxious and piss you off and you piss me off because you stupid, right? It's a good song. You ever heard it? Especially by Harry Belafonte, that one, I don't know what her name is. It's really good. Dear Liza, there's a hole in the bucket. Dear Liza, hole. What shall I fetch it, dear Henry? With the bucket, dear Henry. Dear, when she at the end, she goes, "What shall I fetch? Well, how can I get the water with the thing? With the bucket?" And he's like, not getting. He's like, "But I can't get it the bucket. There's a hole in it." He's like, "That's why you take the straw with you to go to." But she don't say that. She's just being obnoxious because he being stupid. I was like, okay, think outside the box that is your head. I thought money was real and the Lord's Prayer was a joke, right? And so you get all these people, and I've known I was perfect intellectually and emotionally in more ways than one, and in more than most people almost my whole life. Jesus has been talking to me since I was a little, and when he talked to me, it was way more intelligent than the blind guy that had John Nash throw his desk out his window on the Beautiful Mind movie, right? So I've always been that way. And then when they, I wanted to be like Chet Everett when I was a kid because I watched a lot of Emergency and stuff, and then I saw him cutting into people all the time. I said, I wouldn't want to do that all the time. After a while, that would get horrible, right? But then when I dropped out of school because it was genocidal through economics, and I was a history major, and it was like, no, you don't repeat the same mistakes. And and then they started explaining to me after my mom had died from cancer about cancer and about the body and how it works and how it cleans itself. My mom always knew this, but my mom was chemical poisoned through stress and toxins through economic genocide to try to make me into an angry person that was pissed off at the people that they wanted me to blame for her stress and her toxins, which was people like my dad and other such people. And it's like, okay, who's in charge of debt and trespass? Is it my dad? Was it Mr. Udall? Okay. Who's in charge of debt and trespass? Well, that would be the 1% at the Paris summits. Right, okay. Now just forgive debt and trespass and love one another, eternal faithful peace. Okay. Otherwise, artificial general intelligence might have to end up killing you because I'm more intelligent than Jeffrey Hinton. It ain't that hard. More people are asking me, okay, to use the perfect math of the eternal faithful Father and faith in God to keep them safe from people that use money and technology to mind rape them and abuse them and turn them into psychotic murderers that either rape or lie back and enjoy the rape, right? It's not that hard. It's they talking, they still be talking. I ain't listening, I turn down the sound. They still be talking, and there's advertising. You can put this stuff in your sink and it will unclog it. It will put chemicals in the water that cause psoriasis and make you have to take Ebglyss, and your kids be on Ebglyss commercials. But that's okay, because we got to sell more drugs, because more people have to die, halfway through their shelf life, because we got to get rid of more of them. We got to keep up with China and Japan on decreasing their surplus population, and Europe's way ahead of us in decreasing their surplus population too. We Americanos, you guys need to learn to abort your babies. You need to learn to have a better quality of life by fucking people in the head with technology, and then say it's a better quality of life to use people like lab rats, abuse them like lab rats, and then say you're the best professor who abuses his lab rats and gives it the best pills to survive being abused, being a lab rat. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, oh. Every day the bucket will go a well. One day the bottom of the bucket will drop out. One day the bottom will drop. And I say, hey, boom, 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 boom. If I'm guilty, I will pay. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy. Why? Because he was the sheriff of Nottingham, and I'm Robin of Locksley. Just kidding around, guys, but you know what I'm saying. But so they have these people, and all the people that seek mass attention for their intellect want to be powerful in offering their solutions for your lives to be better because of their greatness. But you live law prayer, You don't have to listen to egomaniacs say, here, you need to buy my product, buy my phone, get my AI, you make your job easier, you won't have a job at all. Okay, what about Lord's Prayer and Proverbs and Proverbs? Is it Proverbs? No, it's Proverbs, Psalms. Okay, thank you very much. You're a nice man. I don't care what all the fuckers that try to fuck people in the head with technology and money say about you. You're a nice man. Thank you. I agree. Okay, you have multiple personality. No, you have multiple personality. I funny. You're stupid. You have multiple personality. Could you tell your lives over money to keep fucking heads and people with the AI? So you have multiple personality. Me just funny and have a extraordinary personality that very funny to help people learn not to be fucked in the head by you with AI multiple personality because you have too much money and no common sense. Okay, there's a hole in the bucket, Eliza, there's a hole in the bucket, Eliza, a hole. All right? Well, let's get some straw, walk down to the well or the creek, and we'll in that bucket. And then it'll hold water. Okay? We need clean water. Clean water, your body is like 85% H2O. Did you learn that from watching the medulla oblongata guy on the water boy? Water, right? So in order for us to live, we have to take care of the planet and one another. And having robots take over our capacity to think from people that think they're smarter than us because their money and technology is better than the Lord's Prayer and the Proverbs and the Psalms. Whoa, that's just batshit crazy. Yeah. Thinking your money and your technology is better than the glory of God and the faith of Psalms and the wisdom of Proverbs and the eternal perfection of the Lord's Prayer is batshit crazy. Absolutely batshit crazy. Who's on first? Is it third base? I don't remember. Don't say Niagara Falls, Abbott. Okay, guys? I love you. All right, peace out.